1943, Germany had been routed in Russia. They had lost a lot of equipment, they had lost a lot of men, and they had lost confidence. By then, in Europe, a toehold, a beachhead has been taken by Sicily having been conquered, and the Allies were on their way to Rome. During this time, the Allied forces and the generals and the politicians had to come to a conclusion. How will the war end? What would constitute to be called as a victory? Is it the surrender of Germany? Is it taking Berlin? Is it liberating all of Europe? Or is it also defeating Japan and liberating all of Asia? So the what question had to be clearly defined. In the absence of a clarity of the what question, the why, we know the why is to get the world rid of a dictatorial, tyrannical, imperialistic force. The what would constitute to be a defeat of the adversary and a victory for you had to be thought through by not one person and agreed to by many nations, many generals. So there had to be not only clarity but an alignment of thinking. Now, the what would not win the war. Thereafter, they had to decide how will they achieve this what? Meaning, where will now the next entry into Europe take place? How will that entry be? Would they work through up from Italy, through Switzerland or through France into Germany? Or do they land in France? How do they do it? They have to come through the English Channel, or would they come through the Atlantic? Would they team up with the Russian forces which are coming through the east? So every one of this hows, how will the what be achieved? Let us say they decided the what was liberating France. The what was liberating Belgium. The what was liberating Netherlands. And the what was after that going and taking Germany. Now, thinking through where they will land is not going to be enough. Now they have to think through how would they reach how many troops? Would they put 500,000 troops in there? What would be the airborne part in this? How will they get the ships to transport these troops? How will they neutralize Hitler's or Rommel's Atlantic Wall, which was an impregnable defense? So how would they take those bunkers and the beachheads? What would be the role of weather in it? Which month is the good month to go into? What would be the role played by the underground, the French underground? So they had to think through all these hows. Now, this is not enough to think through the how. While they are building these forces, the tanks, the armed personnel carriers, the gliders, the aeroplanes, amassing close to 1 million troops, the food for them, the clothing for them, the ammunition, the armaments, and how and where will they store it such that the enemy spies don't see them? Because you have to mass all of them. In one morning, you cannot get 500,000 people, 200,000 people to be boarding ships. So you have to think through all this: where, when, who, how. The what is not good enough. But to think through where, when, who, and how without thinking through the what is meaningless. In every one of this, 5 people are going to have a view, 5 powerful people, 7 powerful people are going to have a view. To align these views, now that is the leadership challenge. So this is the role of thinking. So during the week, you would have a few more of these insights which you would get. I hope you enjoyed this short story of World War II to understand the role of thinking in leadership. And please tell your friends, please tell your colleagues to tune in to Leadership Insights from Leadership Center. Thank you very much.